Kia ora whānau. So what do banks do? Oh, you remember these when we were kids? We used to bank at school and put money aside, putting these deposits in the bank. So we're taught that banks take deposits so they can lend money out. We've known this most of our life, haven't we? So we're taught that banks take deposits and hold savings in bank accounts. Commercial banks loan that money to customers. Banks also get money from government and loan it to customers. Commercial banks then act as intermediaries to get money to lend to customers, to us. We've known that most of our lives. Unfortunately, all of that's completely pluck. None of that is true. We're going to learn in this short course the facts as to what banks actually do. We taught banks lend dollars, so we're able to borrow dollars. That's false. That's not true either. Banks take deposits to make loans, don't they? No, they don't. What the? This can't be true. This is so counterintuitive of what we've been taught since we were kids. Fortunately, it is true. So, what do banks really do then? Banks create bank deposits that we call money. Banks buy securities that we call financial assets. Here is a spreadsheet or a balance sheet that a bank would hold. So when we take out a loan, that loan is entered as an asset on the bank's balance sheet. But it's actually a security that the bank has purchased from us when we take out that loan. The security then is recorded as a customer deposit, but it's actually a record of the purchase of that security. The security sits as an asset, and the record of the purchase is a liability. What the bank owes to us is just the record of the dollars that it has just created. So banks buy securities that we call financial assets. Banks pay for those securities by adding New Zealand dollars to bank accounts on their books or balance sheets. And this is the same in most other countries as well, particularly those that operate a sovereign fiat currency. So banks pay for those securities by adding New Zealand dollars to bank accounts on their books and their balance sheets. Let's take a look at that again. So the asset is entered as $1,000. Let's say it's a loan for $1,000. The liability or the record of that purchase of that security or a customer deposit, and that's actually not an accurate term, but it's used anyway. Why? Because we haven't deposited anything. That customer deposit is actually a record of the purchase of the security. So let's take a look at the correct sequence, what I like to term the whakapapa of money. Papa is short for Papa Tuanuku, and she's the Earth Mother. She's the origin and creation of everything. So there is actually a creation to this money story, or the whakapapa of money. Now again, we're taught that banks take deposits, then give loans. That's false. That's not true. This is the correct sequence. Banks buy your security first, then create deposit of money to pay for those securities. The deposit of money is created to pay for the securities, even though that deposit of money is not being deposited by anybody. So banks create money when they purchase securities. Banks are the creators of the money supply. They are not the humble intermediary that we've come to think that they are. where they are an intermediary between the government and us, giving us the government money. Not at all. They are actually creating the money at the point of sale there when they purchase our securities. What the? Let's clear this up. So how banks create money? It's called bank creation. And they have a keyboard, just like the one that I'm using, but it's quite a special keyboard because it's the bank's keyboard. So let's say we're going to take out a loan for a car for $1,000. I'm going to buy a Ferrari. It's not a very big Ferrari, but let's just use that as a case anyway. So my car loan that I'm going to apply for $1,000 to the bank, and yay, the bank has approved my car loan. So I poodle down to the bank, and the bank will have a car loan agreement ready for me to sign, and that is called a promissory note, meaning it's a promise that I'm going to pay the balance of this loan back to the bank for $1,000, plus the bank will add an interest rate to the top. Let's just say, for argument's sake, the bank will add 10% per annum. So that takes the full amount, once I pay it all back, of $1,100. So there's the car loan agreement. Then I go to sign the car loan agreement. The moment I sign that now, and the bank signs, it is now purchased a security worth $1,100. Next step is the bank takes that security and records it on its books as an asset called a loan, and record it as a liability for a customer deposit. Although we know we didn't deposit anything, did we? It's actually a security and an account payable, meaning that it's what the bank owes us. So the bank has purchased my security. So no deposit was made. I didn't deposit anything. The bank didn't deposit anything from inside the bank or outside of the bank. It didn't get it from the government, or from China or the United States or from Mars or anywhere. It was just entered as digits off a keyboard into the bank spreadsheet. So even though there was no deposit made, the bank has created money by purchasing the security. Then the staff member from the bank will type 1,000 into my bank account. So the bank has created money through purchasing a security. $1,000 created, the asset entered, a liability entered on record, coming to me $1,000. Now I can head out and buy my brand new Ferrari. So I go to the car dealer and we come up with a deal for $1,000. That goes straight over to the car dealer. Now I get the car. The car dealer has that $1,000 of brand new created money. Now, the interest payment was the extra $100 that I owe the bank. That interest payment is what the bank uses as a profit or a dividend to its shareholders. So by the time I end up paying the entire loan back to the bank, $100 of equity is available to the shareholders, meaning the total of the repayment I've made, $1,000 plus the interest of $1,100. But however, through it all, the bank has created $1,000, entered as an asset in its books and a liability likewise. Then the interest payment of the equity is available to its investors, the bank shareholders, and the bank has created $1,000. So we are taught that deposits create loans. The banks are required to take the deposits first. That is absolutely false. The opposite is true. Loans create deposits. So that promissory note, the agreement that was signed, has created the deposit, not the other way around. So banks create money when they purchase securities, and that's all. What? Well, I hope now it's cleared that up. So we can say, I gotcha. We know how the money supply is created. Kia ora whānau, let's chat again soon. No mai, hara mai, back onto the website to our pink email link. Kia ora.